Yeah, pretty much like what I'm wanting to put out to the kids really is this
Mm,
all kind of going to another country and broadening your horizons. We all can't be
100%.
we all can't be medics. We all
Yeah.
can't be lawyers. So yeah, there's kids at the school that are all really, really interested in their sports.
Yeah.
And being South Africa, I wouldn't say it was one of the top countries in the world for kind of sporting opportunities. So kind
Agreed.
of meeting you guys and WSAS and finding out what you guys do, I think really will pitch to those kids that want to go abroad. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think obviously I grew up in Cape Town. So for me, there was also that same misconception, right? Is like you kind of have to stay here, you kind of have to go through the same routes that
Yeah.
that are here. And then obviously I started playing soccer, and that kind of opened up my doors to what is abroad, what are the possibilities.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have that very limited focus. My brother actually went before I did. So he was in New York. He was about 5 hours out of the city. And so he studied there for 4 years, came back 8 months later, I left. So he opened the
Yeah.
door for me to see that, hey, this is even a possibility. Like,
It's possible. Yeah. It's not just on the films, eh? It's like,
exactly.
yeah, it's,
Exactly. It's
it's,
not something you see in the movies. It's like, oh wow, now I know someone that's actually been through the full experience. And so that opens the door for me. And honestly, like you said, it was the most eye-opening, perspective changing, life changing experience for me, that I would do it all over again the exact same way that I did it. And even coming back to South Africa and trying to make that dream possible for a lot more other students. I think it's a big thing for me working for the company that helped to get me overseas. Kind of just
definitely.
brings things full circle. And so I want to open that same door for a lot of students, especially athletes, who have that opportunity, just to be like stretched and grown in a different
Mm.
environment, playing with, not the same kids that you played in high school against and all over the years,
Being
but now it's
challenged.
like,
Yeah.
exactly, now you're in a different
Mm.
environment. The training
It's a
is
different
different.
league. It's a different
Oh
league
yeah,
completely. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like an American sports person because that's their be all and end all. Like
exactly.
what they've trained for their entire lives. They're going to do it and they're going to do it to the best of their ability. Yeah.
Exactly. And obviously their parents have been grooming them since they were like 6, 7 years old. And for me, like I'm pretty short. Like I'm 5'3". And so I'm playing against girls who are like 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And so once again, completely different playing environment, different
Yeah.
league. But the most rewarding season of my life, yeah.
Awesome. And just saying that, like a 6 foot tall soccer player, you think if you're 6 foot tall, you must be a model. That's all
Yeah.
you do. You don't play soccer. But it's
No.
really cool that we can put it out there and the kids then know that it doesn't matter whether you're small, tall, blonde,
No.
it doesn't matter. You can still go and do this. So just
100%.
a little bit of a kind of a background as to how easy is it to do it? I mean, financially, that kind of thing.
Do you want me to mention numbers or no?
I do. Yeah, you can do. I mean, just say it's like completely something that you can't afford. You're going to have to fundraise. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
more
I
real.
think, yeah, I think for me the process was pretty easy. And this is the tough part about it is in terms of the company that I work with, is you have to know that you're good enough and you have to be able to believe in yourself. I think first and foremost, especially with student athletes, that's where it starts. Because if you don't have any self belief, then no one else is going to believe in you.
Mm,
And it's not a cockiness, it's a confidence in yourself.
mm,
So I think you have to believe that you're good enough. Because like you said, the playing field there it's huge. It's not just American students you're playing against, you're competing against the rest of the world as well. My team didn't just have Americans. I was playing against Germans, I was playing against Costa Ricans, playing against Mexican girls, was playing against girls from Australia, New Zealand, the UK. Like it's
awesome. Yeah.
everyone. And so it brings it
Mm,
all into this one playing field. And now it's like, game on.
yeah.
So obviously with our process and how we work is there is a vetting platform. Um, so we do go through consultations because we want to know the students, we want to meet the students that we're actually dealing with. And we also want to make sure that you're successful. So we do ask for school reports and things like that. A lot of student athletes think it's just about the way they play. And it actually isn't. You have to
Mm.
maintain a certain GPA in order to play in the league. If
It's
you
like
don't,
it's like Coach Carter all over again. If you
no,
don't,
yeah,
it's gonna lock the hole. Yeah, definitely.
exactly. And so I think a lot of I know for me, like going through high school, that's something I downplayed a little. I wasn't super strong academically, and I didn't realize how important it would be until I got there. And so you have to keep that GPA high in order to continue playing, or else they redshirt you for a year, and so you
Sorry,
you
just
can't
explain
play.
to the kids. Just explain to the kids what's a GPA, so they know kind of the American terms as well.
For sure. So GPA is obviously grade point average. So would be like a school report, but it's taken per term. Per semester. So from August to December is obviously one semester, and then from January through May is your second semester. So you have to maintain a certain GPA for that. So if I did really well in semester 1, but semester 2 I kind of flunked out, and so overall my GPA is not looking good, then the next season that ticks over, I wouldn't be able to play. So you can practice, and this is the worst part. You go to all the games and go all to the practices,
Ouch.
but you don't play. So you sit on the bench and you're like, oh, I could have made a difference, and you kind of have to watch it from the other side of the field, which is tough. So I think that's also a key part of it. But so as a company, WSAS, we do look at that. We yes, it's awesome to have a student who's so for example represented their province or South Africa in that capacity, but your grades are going to count for just as much. And so we've seen students, come in who are really strong and skilled wise in their sport, but then the academics is actually what ends up bringing them back to the country.
Yeah.
It's because they lose that.
Which is a good thing for the students. They're very fortunate. We're a private school in Northern Johannesburg, and they're very fortunate with their academics. Very, very smart kids, but
Yeah.
also got so much sporting potential that there's just no opportunity unless you're top.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get seen. You're not gonna get scouted. I find especially girls' sports.
Yeah.
I know boys' sports. You've got the rugby kind of structure, and it's good. It's very good, and I'd say the netball structure was good. I mean, it's decent, but there's just not that opportunity to take sport seriously. So
Yeah.
you think that this is a very, very good option for them?
100%. I mean, just to give you kind of context to my playing level where I was at, I didn't represent the country in any capacity. I represented our province when I was under 18. So Western Province when I was under 18. And then after that, I got a scholarship to study at a university in Cape Town called Stellenbosch University and play on their soccer team. So I had a full scholarship for my soccer. But I, once again, didn't represent my country at all. And, obviously left to United States in my second year at Stellenbosch. So finished in Stellenbosch, started there in the United States in August of 2015. And when I got there, I knew what I had to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to be. And so my first year, I actually got Newcomer of the Year, which is an award for NAIA. So all the newcomers, so that's all freshmen, any transfers, any new player to the league, they award that to the one player who all coaches will vote on as the best player. So I got that award, which is really cool.
Great
I actually
stuff.
have it.
Yeah, of course you do.
It's huge.
They don't do anything small, eh?
No,
everything is massive.
Cool. Yeah, so it's got like the American Midwest Conference, which is the conference we played in. And then it says Newcomer of the Year for 2015, which is fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other 3 years that I was there, so I was a transfer student. But the other 3 years that I was there, they make up a team of the top 14 players of that conference. So that's everyone, right? So one average team would have 25 players on their team. Yeah. We had about 13, 14 different teams in our league. So if you can imagine, out of
how many girls you're up against.
Yeah, exactly. And so I made that team as well for all 3 years that I was there. Once again, didn't represent my country, but I worked hard. And I believed that I was good enough. And because I had that self-belief, obviously it pushed me to another level of my playing that I didn't play when I was here in South Africa, because I saw the competitiveness and I didn't want to match it. I actually wanted to exceed it. I wanted to be better than everyone else. And so being in that competitive environment fueled me. And I think most student athletes are fueled by that competitiveness, for me to be better than everyone else. And obviously my time there was very much a success. But it's like you said, you don't have to be the best of the best, but you do have to be at some kind of level. And I think the big thing is you don't want to sit on the bench. You don't want to like go there and spend most of your time like just kind of coasting. You want to go there and you want to excel and you want to prove to these coaches that you're worth the scholarship that they are offering you as well. Yeah.
So just to interrupt there, we're just talking about mainly soccer, so mainly women and girls soccer. What kind of sports would do WSAS kind of take on, and then scouts universities that would accept, say, a runner or a hockey player or no, netball's not big, but maybe basketball, that kind of.
Yeah, great question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can now.
My computer just froze. In terms of the sports we do, we try to keep the playing field as open as possible. So netball's a tough one because netball in the US is not big, but netball in the UK is. And so we operate with a lot of countries all over the world. Most of them are first world developed countries. That's also just an assurance for parents when they are sending their kids. They're not going to some remote country that might be hard for them. But
in Wales somewhere that no one knows.
Exactly, in the middle of nowhere. That's always great. For girls specifically, obviously soccer is a big one, tennis is a big one, swimming, golf, athletics, they have rowing. So there's a couple of sports that cross. So water polo is also a big one. I know a lot of private schools do water polo. Girls basketball, softball, cross country. There's gymnastics. UCLA is really big in gymnastics. Cross country. Ice hockey,
athletics in general, kind of.
Yes. So like whatever, area that might be, whether it's javelin or discus or whatever area within that. Fencing's a big one, diving, field hockey, squash, archery, badminton. And then with guys, it's the same. So a lot of schools have to have the girl equivalent of the guy sport to match it. So where I say soccer with girls, they have to have soccer with guys. Same thing, tennis, swimming, golf, athletics. We do rugby. Some universities in the United States actually have pretty good rugby teams.
I've heard
people that have gone through that. There's big money in it because they're trying to push the sport a lot more so that they can become more competitive in that sporting code as well.
Definitely.
On an international playing field. Baseball's a big one. Obviously, men's basketball is huge. Ice hockey, once again, American football, which obviously we don't have the equivalent of that. Rugby would be the closest. Wrestling's another one that is really famous and really good in the United States. Water polo's there again. Rowing, squash, lacrosse is also one, but obviously some of them we do not have.
Lacrosse is brutal, eh? Have you ever lacrosse? Yeah. You can stick to the face every 5 seconds. It's brutal.
It's quick. I didn't realize until I got to the United States how big of a sport it is. But then I watched it on TV and I was like, you have to be one of the fittest people.
Yeah.
Because I think they run more than football, than rugby, even more than soccer. I would say they track in terms of over a certain amount of time. I think they cover more distance.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it is insane. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Cool. But so we're pretty open to any students that do come through and obviously want to try the sporting route. We welcome everyone. We do advise best sometimes because we know the US has bigger funding when it comes to student athletes and different athletic programs versus the UK or something like Australia. It's a huge difference in terms of scholarships and what you might get offered. So we do, I don't want to say we push our students to the US, but just because there's more funding available, there's a bigger chance of you getting a great.
You're more likely, Yeah, great. Okay. Exactly. And just so you've gone through the sports in terms of the countries. So you've got the US, the UK, Australia. Any other kind of random places that you would send people to?
We do Europe. It's mostly international universities because obviously your lectures would be in English. So we do work with those as well. We obviously have a university in Scotland. We have a couple in Ireland, the UK. Canada is a big one. That we also have a lot of our students actually want to go to Canada. Mostly academic because most of the Canadian sporting people come down once again to the US. So I said Europe, you said UK, Australia, New Zealand. We are actually starting with places in Asia right now.
Awesome,
So we're starting to network, with a bunch of them. So we have these conferences that happen a couple of times throughout the year. So last year, our CEO, Justin, actually went to one in Ireland. We're supposed to have one in Germany this year, but obviously because of COVID-19, got pushed back a little. But the cool thing about these conferences is they have representatives from colleges and universities all around the world. So they come in, we network, we build relationships, and then we help to send them students to create diversity on their campuses as well. So
Right.
you might not be the only African student or the only South African student there. So we help to try and push a lot of our students into various places. Also, yeah, just for diversity reasons. But yeah, I would say US obviously the biggest interest. But Canada's a big one. The UK is definitely a big one. I know a lot of South African students also have British passports. And so it's sometimes easier for them because they don't have to apply for certain kinds of visas.
Yeah, completely.
They already have that process, it kind of makes their steps a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does help to assist the process.
Great stuff. So in terms of kind of like, so say I was a matric student now, or even a grade 11 student, and I'm kind of playing club basketball, and I've got provincial basketball, and I'm now wanting to study in America. What do I do? Do I come to you? Do you offer me what the degree options there are? Do you come and watch me play? What's the process then?
Sure. So you obviously get in contact with us. You let us know, hey, I want to study abroad. This is something I'm very much interested in. We will consult with you. So kind of get on a call that kind of looks like this with your parents involved. Because there are fees involved, and so we don't want a student alone sitting on the other side and then having to explain.
Saying yeah, and then there's
exactly, yeah. So we do want the parents involved in the process as much as possible. We then go through what we call this interview process. So once the consulting is done and the call is finished, I send them an email. It'll have 3 things that we require from them. So it'll be an essay, latest school report, as well as a headshot photo, which I send to head office. They review and they'll let you know. So actually our program, yes, we take people and people reach out to us, but we also need to make sure that we're taking in the right people. And so we don't want to set a student up for failure, especially if they, say, for example, have a below 60% average. The US schooling system is a little bit higher than ours. So we know that, academically, they'll definitely struggle. And so we don't know if they would be able to pass, just a semester there. Yeah. So we don't want to set students up like that for failure. And so we do a little bit of a vetting process to see, is this someone that, will be able to succeed? Because, there is money involved. And so we want to make sure that the student won't just scrape by, but will succeed when they go. So we do have a limited amount of students that we accept within a year. Excuse me. So we accept about 350 students within a year into our international scholarship program.
And what's your applications like? How many applications do you receive? So just kind of to see how likely
numbers wise.
Yeah.
Obviously with COVID-19 it's looking a little different. But we would receive anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 students a year. So as you can see, it's a huge chunk that we do trim down quite significantly. And that's the best way we found, with being able to also provide outstanding results to our students. And so we don't want to take on too much that we also can't handle at the same time. And we want to be able to give every student, the best possible outcome that we can for them. So. Yeah.
You said you went in your second year at Stellenbosch, so you can apply kind of say you start a university here and you're like, okay, this is not really for me. I want to keep on trying. I didn't get in my matric year, my first year I failed, second year they're going to send me. So you can do that.
100%. I actually only found the company in September of 2014. So that was my first year of university. Obviously towards close to the end. So then I went through the consulting process and, being vetted and all that. And then I got accepted right before the year ended. And then I left in August of 2015. So my turnover was, I would say, dangerously short. Like if anything slipped, I would have been in trouble with trying to go in August of 2015. I probably would have had to go in January of 2016. But yes, definitely possible. If sometimes it might work out even a little better because people get the feel for university first. Obviously, if you're mature enough and ready to go, then I'd say get started. I would say the tough thing for me though was I also took a gap year before I went to uni. So it was a week before my 21st birthday when I got there. So I was also a little
Okay.
older. And so when I graduated, I was 24 and some of the freshmen on my team were 18. It's a
Okay.
huge age gap.
Yeah, it is.
It's
No,
6 years.
yeah.
So I did struggle with that quite a bit, just maturity level and
Yeah,
what
yeah,
people
yeah,
find as
completely.
interests. Yeah, and what they find funny is it was just
It's
awkward.
18-year-old humor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it was different. And I was also in a completely different phase of my life. I'm transitioning out, looking at, what's the world got to offer me, what's my next step.
Yeah.
I did work there for a year. So I know
Mm.
some students always ask, like, is it possible to stay? It's 100% possible.
I was literally going to ask you, why did you come back? Yeah, why didn't you stay?
So for me, it mainly was just visa reasons.
Okay.
There was it was also a very awkward time. There was a lot of not to get too political about it, but there was a lot of just politics around immigrants at the time.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't. It's not that I didn't feel safe. It was just there were a lot of hoops to jump through in order for me to stay.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, I completely understand the visa situation, and the kids know my story.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all, and it's
No.
yeah.
Yeah. And there was also quite a bit of money involved. I'm very open with it. Like for me, it would have cost me $5,000 to apply for a visa. And the type of
Yeah.
visa that I was applying for was only awarded, there were only 60,000 available, but over 200,000 people apply. So you have less than a 30% of getting a visa, and you pay $5,000, and then it's a lottery system. So
Oh my
they
goodness.
put
Yeah, and
your
then
name,
oh
and
no.
it's like random. No, it's so random. I mean, you don't get your money back. So that's if you want to convert $5,000 now, that's like 60, 70 grand. To
That's
set
the
me
thing,
up
yeah.
when I came back home, that was something I had to really think about. And so it actually came to the very last day for me to apply. And I really just I didn't feel at peace about it.
Okay.
And then I made the decision to come back home, and I was like, this has been the best thing ever. And
Yeah.
literally don't regret any of it. I've got friends there for life that I know I'll go back and visit, and they'll
Yeah.
even come here. So I don't regret my decision at all. And some people probably think I'm crazy for saying that. But I don't. And I've loved being back here almost a year now. In July it'll be a year. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, also people do think the grass is greener on the other side. And
It's green where you water
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, completely
Yeah.
agree.
I mean, people probably ask you the same question, right? Like
Yeah,
why
why do
South
you go
Africa?
back to the UK? Like, it's
Yeah.
awesome there. I'm like, no, I spent it must have been 25 years of my life there.
Yeah.
And I just, no, tick, done. All good, thanks.
It's just, I think it's just different seasons of life. You might find yourself back there 10, 15 years from now,
Yeah,
but that
completely.
might be a better timing for you to be back, where right now
Yeah.
this is where you feel like you should be, and I
Yeah.
think that's okay. Yeah, so
Agreed.
100%.
Awesome.
Where in the UK are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
Manchester.
No
Yeah,
ways,
so-
Manchester United, let's go.
No, man.
Are you blue?
I was no, 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 no.
Oh.
Don't. I was literally going to say, my brother's actually a professional football player. He plays for Cardiff City.
No, I'm about to
In the
Google what's his
championship.
first name.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what's Joe? So Joe.
Yeah, Joe Bennett.
Bennett. Yeah.
No,
So that's my little
ways.
brother. We don't look alike. I don't think we look alike, but yeah. So yeah, I'm super interested in getting these kids sports, getting them abroad, getting them
Yeah.
like as professional as they can be, because I think it's super limited here.
Yeah, agreed.
As much as the sport is coming through, it's doing really well. I do think that I'd like to give the opportunity to the kids and speak to you about the going abroad situation. So I've really appreciated it, and I'm sure the kids will.
Yeah.
Just lastly, so that I don't keep you for too long.
No, you're good.
Where would they go to next? Where would they apply now? Online? What would
Yeah. You can go on our website. It'll kind of, you fill out a little form. We get those forms immediately. And then there's a couple of us who are, in charge of the consulting. So I'm one of them. And then there's another lady who's actually up in KZN. So,
Okay.
but right now we're doing Skypes, we're doing Zooms, we're seeing a lot
Yeah.
of students, and it's super easy to do and get you started in the process really quickly. So
Perfect.
yeah, like I think I have for this week. I like to keep them individual personally, because
Yeah.
it creates that conversation. Parents can
Yeah.
ask really any kind of question. So, last weekend I think I had 8 or 9 over Friday and Saturday. This weekend so far I have 5 on Saturday, and it's awesome. It's great kids. Mostly obviously grade 11, grade 12. Very rarely do we get grade 10s, and when they do,
Okay.
some of them like to get started early, so it gives them focus. When you have something to work towards, you know what you're doing, you know
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah.
going, kind
Perfect.
of
Yeah.
going. So I never discredit the grade 10s. I think it's actually brilliant that they already switching their gears,
Yeah. Prepared.
to what's
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And if there's things you got to change, other things you need to get in shape, or whatever that might look like, you can already start doing that now, not right before you need to go, or when I
Yeah.
get there I'll do it. It's like, no, like everything you do every single day prepares you for what's going to come.
No, definitely.
So yeah, so go on our website, fill in that little form. We'd love to help people get plugged in. You've got my email. I don't mind people
Yeah.
emailing
No.
me.
Okay. Awesome. I'll send that
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
This is actually going to go up online, I think, on Friday.
brilliant.
I'm sure we'll just prepare for the request, because I'm guessing the kids are going to be super excited about this. They're
Yeah,
very orientated. And if you can do a degree and play sport and go to America or the UK, or hello,
why
like,
not?
do it.
Yeah, and there's so many other benefits. Like, I know obviously we mainly speaking academically, we're talking sport. But like for me, I didn't so financially I didn't depend on my parents at all. I worked a job on campus. So I was a full-time student, full-time athlete, and worked a job on campus. I traveled. I went to California for 3 weeks. Moved to Tampa, Florida. Went to New York. Brought my mom over for a month. So I got to see about
You're
15 to 20
awesome.
different states. I stayed there most of the time, didn't really come home. I came home once in 4 years. That was my choosing.
Yeah,
I could have very easily have come home, but I just wanted to see as much of the world as I could.
definitely. Yeah.
And so yeah, I would just encourage kids, like, don't just stay obviously it's
In
a
your
little
little
bubble.
campus. Yeah.
Yeah, like just go out and explore. It's so easy.
Yeah,
It's
catch a
free.
flight.
Yeah, just go somewhere, just anywhere. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like
Awesome.
there's so many people you can meet, so many other cultures, all cultures you can learn about, people's backgrounds, their stories, and it creates memories for you, for you to tell your kids one day. And
Yeah, I
but
think
yeah,
it's just amazing. I do think a lot of because South Africans, not that they're a funny breed for me, but they're a different breed, because we holiday in Europe, we holiday in America, we go and
yeah,
across to France for the weekend. But South Africa's very South African. Like, you
yes,
stay here.
yeah,
Your most of your family. If you're all in Cape Town, you're all in Cape Town. You're all in Joburg. You're all in Bloem. You're all in.
yeah,
And it's very and it's really cool. I love that, because it's a completely different environment. But I just really encourage these kids to. You just never know. Like, branch
yeah.
out. You might meet the love of your life in Florida. Do you know what I mean? You
You
just
never know. Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah.
There's so much out there to see.
Mm,
And obviously that's not saying, hey, forget your roots and leave. But I think there's obviously you and we can speak from this because this is experience, right? Like,
yeah.
when you see a different country, when you experience a different culture, when you live somewhere that isn't your traditional home,
Yeah.
something in you changes. Like, there's a lot of introspection, I think, even as to who you are,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
and so yeah, I just think it was honestly for me such a life-changing experience. And so that's why I love that I get to do this. I love that I
Yeah.
get to
Cool. And
encourage
encourage.
other students here
Mm,
to do the same thing. Like, South Africa's great, it really is. It's not the end all and be all of the world. Like, there's there's
mm,
there's a lot out there. So even
mm.
if it is just 4 years and you come back, it'll be 4 years that you will never ever forget. So
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah, just want to encourage kids to do that.
Great stuff. It's been awesome to chat to you, Nina. Thank you so much.
Likewise, of course.